Hey everyone, I'm DaniMostTrades and welcome back to the second episode of my Lunar Magic tutorial series. In this episode we'll be covering the Overworld as well as using a software called YY-CHR. For the Overworld, we'll be covering about 90% of everything you can do there, including event animations, which is what happens to the Overworld after you beat a level, as well as how to use stars, pipes, pathways, and all that fun stuff. Later on we'll be using YY-CHR, which will allow us to edit the pixel art of all of our graphics. I'll show you all the tips and tricks on how to use YY-CHR, both for the Overworld and for in-game. Also, feel free to check out the timestamps down below in the description if there's something specific that you're looking for. Alright, let's get in there. The very first thing I want you to do is make duplicates upon duplicates of your Super Mario World ROM. You do not want that to go to waste. Alright, second, go ahead and click this icon right here. It's a kind of a castle icon, open Overworld Editor window. Once you're here, go ahead and press Ctrl- or Ctrl+ to adjust the zoom really quickly and you'll get a good view of the entire Overworld. Go ahead and peek around and look at some kind of strange stuff just to kind of be like, oh, what is this? I want to know what all this is. And once you're ready, press Ctrl+ a couple times and get yourself zoomed in on Yoshi's Island there. If you look here in the top left, I want you to get familiarized with these 5 icons here. Effectively, this one's for editing sprites such as Mario and even this Boo over here, kind of move him around. The other main button we'll be using right here is the terrain editor, which is what's going to help us make our hack look pretty or terribly, terribly ugly. And lastly is the Ghost House, our layer 1 16x16 editor, which is going to help us change the properties of our levels. Alright, right away we're going to begin with editing terrain. Make sure you have the center icon here, layer 2 8x8 editor mode selected. Please note that if you double click it, it'll automatically select the one right next to it. Make sure you're on the center one right here. By the way, the same thing happens with the Ghost House. It'll flip automatically, so make sure you're on the right mode when you want to do your editing. Next, I want you to note that you can left click on anything and kind of click and drag it. You can also do Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V, and you'll be able to put that somewhere as well. Please do not abuse this power. And of course, to bring up the pieces that we have to work with, press this button, looks like a little stone. And from here, well, you can see all the pieces of the things that we're going to use. Now, it's easy to edit what we already have here on Mario's page by just clicking something and then kind of drawing stuff in if you want. However, I'm going to be bold and we're just going to delete everything. I want to start off with just some fresh water. To do this, I'm going to go ahead and select right here and press delete. You may notice that we have some residual stuff going on here. I actually want to get rid of all that too. So in order to get rid of these, this is actually going to be on the layer 1 16x16 editor. And you can go like this, press delete, and it's all gone. Next, I'll be back on my layer 2 8x8 editor mode. I'm just going to grab some of these and do some control, copy, paste, whatever, this kind of business. Oh yeah, you can right click with to copy and paste also. This is the format that I just want to start out with. Oh, by the way, if you want to get Mario out of the way while you're doing this, go ahead and click Sprite Editor Mode, grab Mario. You can move the smokestack that comes with Yoshi's house, but I actually kind of just want to keep it on Yoshi's house, so we're just going to leave that there. One very important thing to note, by the way, if you click on the water here, you're going to see that we're using palette 5, which has this kind of water looking thing that we're all used to, but if you go back to palette 4, that's where we're going to see all of our familiar Yoshi's Island terrain. I'm going to whip something up really quick. If you want to see how I do it, go ahead and just watch the next section in 0.25 speed or something. One quick note before we get started, I want you to know that overworld editing is very time consuming, takes a lot of patience, and getting started, it's going to be frustrating trying to find the pieces that you need, trying to figure out how do I do this, how do I do that. Oftentimes it's kind of good to use some of the pieces we have in the overworld up here to kind of familiarize yourself with exactly what kind of pieces you have and what they can do. And by the way, if there's something specific you want to do and you just can't find the right piece, please keep in mind that later on we will be using YY-CHR to modify pieces manually, fully custom, so we'll be able to make that piece. Nothing. That's phallic. That's not phallic. Alright guys, I've got something that is going to help us with our purposes for today. The next thing I want to show you, I want to put Yoshi's house down. So we're going to click layer 1, 16 by 16 editor mode right here, the ghost house. And from here, click on this switch palettes icon right here. What we're going to have is basically a set of all the different icons that we can use. I want to point out something really quick because I know you see a lot of blank icons right here. They're actually not blank, they're just kind of invisible for now. They're pathing icons. Go ahead and click on this icon right here, pathing. And right away you're going to see that they're all way different. But for now, all I want to do is grab my Yoshi, put him right there. Let's see. Okay, good, just making sure. And you can see that there's automatically some pathing on this Yoshi house. We'll get back to that later. Now just a tip, if you click on layer 1 16 by 16 editor mode, you can actually kind of see that it's locked into place. I can't ever get the spot right in between all 4 of these pieces. So effectively, when you're placing down anything in here, like stages, Yoshi house, castles, whatever you want here, it is going to have to be on one of these 16 by 16 tiles. So what I do as I'm creating my map is I make sure that my icons line up. I know I'm going to place something here, and something here. That's just a way to think ahead because it's always kind of a pain when you have to redo your terrain because your levels don't fit. Alright, so now that I've got some terrain that I want to work with, next we're going to do some level editing. I'm going to show you what we can do with that. Go ahead and click layer 1 16 by 16 editor mode, click the Yoshi house, and then click this yellow icon right here, modify level tile settings. Now I created this Yoshi house from scratch, but by default yours is going to say level 104. Why level 104? Because when we go back to Lunar Magic, we see level 104 is in fact Yoshi house. Now I want you to look at this base event for when above level is passed. An event is basically triggered after you beat a level, and it decides what kind of animations happen on your overworld immediately after. Now we don't actually beat the Yoshi level, so this will stay as no event. However, what we will do is click Enable Right. This way, right away, we get to go right. Next, I'm going to go ahead and place a couple stages around the area here. I did forget a very important detail. I had this kind of idea in my mind where this bridge would form later, but as I just said, we don't beat the Yoshi level, so I definitely need that bridge in there right now. So stupid. Before we go any further, I want to show you some details about all of these icons. These 4 icons, they generally all do the same thing. Red is what we use when we want to display that we have a secret exit, but when we hit our pathing button, we get a bit more detail. These effectively mean that they're underwater. So that explains the next 4. And then the next 4 right here is, you can see they're transparent. These icons won't show right away, but they'll show after certain events are triggered. And lastly, of course, if we hit pathing one more time, we see that these ones will not show right away and they're underwater. And I don't want these 3 stages to appear until after I've triggered an event, so therefore I'm leaving them all as transparent ground levels. Let's go ahead and change this to a red dot because there will be actually 3 different exits coming from this one stage. Norman! Baby, oh no! Norman, no, no. Now, the next thing I want to do is set up these 3 stages. So what we'll do is I'm going to go ahead and click here, click my yellow icon to get some settings, and I know I want to use level 1. I did some messing around in the last video, but this is the level that I want to use. Base event for when above level is passed, I'm going to start with 1. You can use any event you want, but to keep things organized, I'm going to start with 1. Direction to enable when normal exit is used, we're going to go right. Direction to enable when secret 1 is used is up. Direction to enable when secret exit 2 is used, I'm going to do down. This one doesn't matter because I'm not going to make a secret exit 3. Reveal this tile on any of these events. You can only reveal one to point is, I'm not going to use this. Ooh, I do want a save prompt after you beat it. I'm going to go here, and you know what? I'm going to make this level number 2. Reveal this tile on any of these events. So here's the thing that I want to explain. When I beat the red level, event 1 will trigger, and it will make me go here. But if I do the secret exit, event 2 will trigger, and I'll then go here. So I want to reveal it when event 2 is passed, and I do a save prompt. Also, I want this event to be, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Very nice. We're going to go to this stage, and remember, it's when this is cleared, event 1, secret exit is event 2, and then event 3 is down. So reveal this tile on event 3. I want this, save prompt, and I'm going to give this event 5. The reason why I'm giving these other stages different events is because events number 1, 2, and 3 are already occupied. So your base event, whatever you set it as, will start at that number 1, but then every secret exit after that will add 1 to that existing base event. So 1, 2, 3. And then, oh yeah, and then this one, this will reveal after event 1 is cleared. Oh, I'm just going to assign some levels to these really quick. 3 and, I don't know, 5? Why not? Save. I'm just going to do a quick touch up to my graphics before I do anything else. Ooh, I had double events, sorry about that. Okay, so I've got this one at 6, this one at 5, this one at 4. It doesn't really matter what number you have your event set to, except for when you're using secret exits. It always goes whatever event it is, +1 for the secret exit, and then plus another 1 for if you have another secret exit, which is very rare. I don't know, I don't think you'd really do that. But this is for example purposes. Now it's time for editing levels. I just did all of that with the wrong title, so I think I'll just insert some text over that or something. I'm really not sure what to do. Alright, now it's time for pathing. Pathing can be very complex, but we're going to keep it simple right now, and maybe I'll do some more elaborate examples a bit later on. So make sure you have your layer 1 16x16 editor mode, and go ahead and click view layer, view layer 1 Mario paths, and then we're going to click here on our switch palace looking icon, and now we're going to draw in some paths for Mario to take. Now these will be invisible, but this is what the game uses to direct Mario to the next level. You have to make sure that your paths are aligned in a really specific way. There can't be any finicky, like, ooh, maybe that'll work, because oftentimes it won't, and Mario will kind of walk off the path, and then all of a sudden you can't really use him because he's walking in the water somewhere. So weird stuff does happen. I just want you to be aware of that. What the hell, you know what? I am going to draw a crazy path just so you kind of understand what it can possibly do and how you'd want to use the paths to make Mario go in kind of squiggly ways. Oh, nice. Very nice. Nope. So I just wanted to make a wonky curve here, just so you can see that it's like it's whole the entire way through. If at any point your path doesn't quite line up in the center, or it doesn't have like a solid path like this, it looks a little bit janky, see if you can revisit it, see if you can modify something to get it into a more solid path. Ooh! Yes, number 5. It is time for event animations. This is probably the most confusing part, so also the most asked part. How do you do this? So I'm going to give you the sweetest tutorial on how to make your stages change after your levels. Alright, step 1, you're going to click here, Layer 2 Event Editor Mode, and press Ctrl- to zoom out. You're going to want to get a good look at this. Now, press Page Up a couple of times. Press Page Up, zoom out again if you have to, and now press and hold Page Up. And you're going to see every single drawn event happen. And I mean, obviously this looks like garbage right now, but hey, that is exactly why we're here. You can press Page Down to go all the way back if you want. And one last trick, just so you know what we're doing, you can press Home to see each individual step, each individual sequence, and then you can press End to go in reverse order on your keyboard. Now the reason why I want you to see this home and end sequence is because this is very important. The order in which you place down your tiles does matter. This is exactly what we're going to work with next. So let's delete basically everything actually, unless you have a problem with that. Go ahead and press Page Up until we're at event, until it says already at end, event 0x77 down here at the bottom of the screen. Make sure you pay attention to these numbers. Later on we're going to use them. Click and drag everything, press delete. Make sure they're all deleted. They should all be deleted. We're going to zoom back in. And what we're going to do, we're going to hold Page Down until we're back at event 1. The reason why we want to be at event 1 right down here is because this is the event that I have decided to choose for myself for the completion of the first level, event 1 right here. And again, you can choose whatever event you want, just keep things organized for yourself. What we're going to do, click this icon right here, open Layer 2 Event Tile Selector. And you're going to see some kind of big chunky things up here. You can select the entire thing. You might even recognize these from Super Mario World. Scroll down a little bit more and you'll start to see these 16 by 16 tiles. This is what we're going to use. Alright, so what we want to do, you're on Layer 2 Event Editor Mode. Next here it says Event 1. And I'm going to start drawing like this. I'm going to grab, here, make sure you can see it. I'm going to grab this bridge icon right here. I'm going to lay it down. And I'm going to grab, what else do I have here? What else do I have? Where is that piece? Ooh, I'm going to keep things simple right away. I'm just going to toss in this piece right here and this piece here. And what I'm noticing right away is I really want some kind of cool icon right here, but I don't have anything like that to my advantage. So I want to show you what to do. We're going to close out of this, go back to your Layer 2 8x8 editor mode, and we're going to scroll up here, and what you're going to notice right away is, oh my goodness, these are the exact same tiles that I just saw. So here's what I want to happen. I want this piece right here. I'm going to go ahead, copy and paste it right there, and then next, I actually want this piece. I'm going to go back up. I'm going to put it there. Let's go back to where we started, right over here. Let me zoom in, let me get a better view there. And we're going to click Event Editor Mode. I'm going to press Page Up really quick and delete what I had. Now let me delete that bridge also. I'm going to press Page Down, Event 1. And so what we do, I'm going to grab my bridge, put my bridge there. I'm going to scroll down, and there's that new piece. There's that new piece. And there's that new piece that I just drew. I'm going to place this one here. I'm going to scroll up, and I'm going to grab this one, and I'm going to go ahead and do this. Now you're going to notice I'm going to press Page Up once more, and not only does my path look, whatever, it looks fine, but you can also see that this icon has now illuminated because event 1 has cleared. Normally it was invisible, well, it shows up as transparent, but normally it was invisible, and now you can see it in its full glory. And then next, for event 2, we want to go up. So for a cool effect, I think first I want to destroy this block like that. And then I want to grab my upwards path. There we go. And then lastly, this one. Very nice. Page up so that it says event 03 because 1, 2, 3 from the base event. And I'm going to do the same thing where I draw over my rock first, draw in here, and then draw in here, press page up, and we're all set. Now I want to do one more thing just to kind of show you some additional details. I've got event 5 selected on this stage right here, but so when we clear this stage using these Bowsers, for example, so I'd place something here, and then the next one right on top of it, right on top of it, like this. And this is how you're effectively going to make an animation. And you can even make it sync back in because, well, honestly, I really don't even want it here. Anyway, so check this out. I'm on event 5, I'm going to press home, and we can watch the animation. You can actually see down here in the bottom, it'll say event 5, and it'll tell you which step it's on. And you can watch the step as this Bowser action happens. Just going to delete that right there. Alright guys, the next thing that we're going to do. Actually, before we do anything else, go ahead and click View, Show Level Numbers, View, Show Event Numbers, in case you don't have those up already. And here we can visualize which levels we're using for each of these stages. That's in the black and white. And we can also see which events we're using for each of these stages. So next, I'm actually going to demonstrate and make some secret exits and show you how it works. So I pulled up level 1 from the tutorial that I made last week, and I want to go ahead and show you a couple of things about this. First, I'm going to pull up the sprite menu, and we'll see our normal exit goal point tape right here. And this is what's going to activate our base event, which is, in our case, 1. Next, I don't have the right graphics in this file, but here's the goal point question sphere, which will also activate in normal exit. Here's the keyhole, which will activate secret exit 1. But what's important about these is that you can do secret exit 1, secret exit 2, and secret exit 3. We'll be using this one in a little bit. For now, I want my normal exit right here. I'm going to go ahead and place the secret exit right here, just for demonstration purposes. Next, let's see, View, Screen Exits. I have a door that goes to level 10. If you'd like a quick tutorial on how to use doors, how to make doors, I do have a bit of that in episode 1 of this tutorial series. Go ahead and check it out. So I'm going to jump to level 10. This right here, I want secret exit 2 goal point tape. I'm just going to set it right here by the entrance. And I've crafted the dinkiest, tiniest. And now we can actually go ahead and see what this looks like. Alright, so here's our overworld. Yoshi house is working totally fine. I can only move right at this point in time. And from here I can't move anywhere. Alright, so let's go ahead and first use the normal exit here. Oh geez. Alright. Let's see what it does. Alright, so it draws in just as we planned out earlier. Alright, first secret exit. Here we go. There we go, just as planned. We're going to go through the door, activate secret exit 2, and our last event has in fact been successful. Ooh, wait a second. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. This is going to look silly. I just want to show you what will happen. Does this level end? Okay. Alright, and there's our beautiful pathing. This is the path that Mario just took. It unlocked as per our settings. Alright, now really quick, special sequences. I just want to show you what these can do. Go to Overworld and go to Change Special Message Levels right here. And what you can see is things like the Switch Palace and Yoshi's House. Because they each have very specific properties, and if you want to change what level has your Switch Palace, maybe you have a stage like level 1 or 5, which later on brings you to the area that has a Switch Palace. You're going to want to use the root level, and you'll place that level right in here. For example, let's say I actually have a Switch Palace in level 2, then I would select 2, and even if you go through doorways and pipes, whatever, to get to that Switch Palace, you're going to want to put level 2. It always uses that base number. Also, while we're here, Overworld, change boss sequence levels. Let's say you only want so many levels in your game and you know what the last level is, you can do end game sequence backdoor, and the boss sequences right here, these are those little cutscenes that you see after beating a boss. One more, you know what, one more while we're here, change special world levels. Change overworld colors if past level. So if you remember in Super Mario World, after you beat, I think it's the special world, everything changes colors. You can change which level does that. Also, while we're here, message boxes. If you remember in level 1 here, I brought us to level 10, and so you would think that whatever messages I place here, see, look, I've got level 1 and I can do like, hi, okay, so that's awesome, and then this one right here, so you can have 2 messages per level. You might think that if you then scroll down to level 10, then you get 2 more, but this is unfortunately not the case. Whatever your base level is, that's where your messages are going to be. So even if I put message boxes in level 10, which I get through level 1, only level 1 message boxes will work. There's some other fun stuff around here, like edit level names and edit music selection. Those are pretty self-explanatory, but we're going to go ahead and move on to something that's not as self-explanatory. Section 8, warp stars and paths. I'm going to show you how to use stars, pipes, paths to get from one subworld to another. First, I'm going to make some adjustments to my screen so I've got a bit more to work with. Alright, so we're going to start with a star. We're going to go to layer 1 editing mode and hit our switch palace icon here to get all of our cool icons. And I've got 2 different stars. One is not revealed immediately, but I want the one that's always revealed. I'm going to place that right here. I'm also going to have Mario walk across this like a lunatic. Enable down right away. And what we're going to do, go ahead and go View, Show Star Pipe Location Numbers. Alright, and just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to make some kind of stupid stuff right here in the special world for really no good reason whatsoever. Alright, so I've got some garbage right here, that's totally fine. And I'm going to zoom out, and the first thing you want to do when you're working with your stars is you have to give them a unique identity. And the way you do this, you select your star, hit the yellow icon, and you assign it a level. Doesn't matter which one. I'm going to go with 134. That's probably not smart because I have another 134. I'm going to delete this level right here. I want to delete that. I don't care about 134. And then this one, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to give it I'm going to give it level 135. And you know what? I again don't want any weird collisions. I'm going to delete 135 right here. And as for events, we're going to clear both of their events to be no event like this. Clear, no event, because you can't actually beat a star, so we're just going to do that. This one has enable right, that's perfect, that's exactly what I want. And this one, don't need a save prompt, that's fine, I'm just going to undo that right there. So now that we have 2 stars with unique identities, level 134 and level 135, we're going to use the instructions by hovering over the star, and it says Alt left click on first tile, then second tile. Hold Alt, left click, and what's going to happen is we're going to get this prompt, and we're going to input some coordinates, anything that's unused. So let's go ahead and use 30 and 31. Press OK, and I'm going to try it again. Alt left click, Good so far, and I'm going to do it the reverse way, just because I want to. And good, that looks like it's actually syncing up. We're going to press save like this, and we're going to go ahead and see if that works. I feel kind of silly about this, but earlier I said view, show star pipe location numbers. What was going on is this was covered up by show level numbers and event numbers. So if you undo this, we can see we've got coordinate 30 and 31 right here, blue and purple, and then here's our corresponding 31 and 30, the opposite. basically meaning this is the coordinate and this is the destination. 30, 31, 31, 30. Something important to note here is that I'm using the same save file that I used before, and if you have new paths, they won't be available unless if you start a new file. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Alright, here we are back at the overworld on a fresh save file. Let me go down, and from here I can activate, let's see what happens. Alright, there we are in the special world. Hey, there we go. Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure we're stuck in here forever. Next, we're actually going to be using these types of paths, which really just have Mario walk to them and then walk on to the next area. It's effectively the same exact way to use them as stars. If you use this one with the horizontal lines, it's going to give Mario this kind of walking up and down stairs kind of look to it. And I'm actually going to have this one, I want to put a new one right here that actually brings us to the main overworld. So any of these red icons that we're using here for pathing, they don't require a level per se. So I'm going to go ahead and do Alt like this, Alt like this, and what happens is that it'll say, it's about the same, but it'll say side to enter first tile from, and it's going to be, well, we are coming from the bottom. Next, we're going to give them some new coordinates here. Let's use 13 and let's use 14. Press OK, and once more, press OK. Now view show exit path numbers, and here we go, 13, 14, 13, 14. And I want to do it from this side, and side to enter first tile from, top, that's exactly what we want it to happen. Double check from here once more, bottom, that's exactly what we want to happen. So let's try it out, see if it works. That will definitely not work. I need to edit this tile, my Yoshi Island tile once more, enable up. I am ridiculous. Remember, these new pathing effects only take place with a new file. Going up, and there we go. It kind of had that little climbing walk to it. I love how we can go into this level right away. Alright, moving on to something a bit less obvious. We're going to talk about the palette here in the overworld. So we're going to go ahead and open up our colors here, and you'll see that on Yoshi's Island right here using palette 5. Look at all this. Then as soon as you click on another one, it'll bring you essentially a whole new set of palettes, and this is actually really kind of confusing, so we're going to look at it like this. I'm going to click on Yoshi's Island here, and mostly what you're going to see are just a few of the palettes changing. Effectively, these 4 palettes right here are going to change. The reason why I want you to see how it kind of dynamically changes basically automatically for you is because it can get confusing. You know, you see these reds and these blues here, and you know, certainly, you know, here they are. I'll give them some really dark color for no good reason. And all of a sudden it's completely changed, and it's just when you're looking for the right pieces and the right colors and everything, I just want you to know where you can change this stuff. But most importantly, we'll be using palette changes like this in the YY-CHR editor, which is the next step. Another quick note about palettes, always click this, enable custom palettes for the overworld, will be saved with the overworld. Alright guys, and here we are at number 10, YY-CHR Overworld editing. We're finally here. It's gonna be fun. First, I need you to download YY-CHR. I think it's on SMW Central. I'll put some links in the description down there. There are 2 versions, a .NET and some other version. I use some other version. I'm not exactly sure how it matters, to be completely honest with you. Alright, so this is what my YY-CHR looks like. You very well might have a different one, but there's something that we have to do first before we can use it. We're going to extract your graphics files from your ROM. And the best way to do this is to go to your main levels here and find the mushrooms that say quick extract graphics and ExGraphics from ROM. I think X means external or extra, I'm not sure. So we're going to click this red mushroom right here and this blue mushroom right here, and I'm going to show you something pretty cool, what that just did. So here's the folder that I keep my YouTube stuff in with the .smc, and right away it generated 2 folders for me. We got ExGraphics and graphics. Click on graphics and you're going to see all the .bin files that contain all of the graphics for all of SMW. Now ExGraphics will get to a little bit later. For now we're going to focus on graphics. Head on back to your overworld, open up YY-CHR and click open. Go ahead and track down the same folder that it just generated in graphics, and we've got a lot to look through, and I just want to pick a random one and show you what we're dealing with here. Let's see, 2E, GFX 2E. Right away it's going to look really glitchy, really weird. Click this right here, graphic format 1BPP, and you want to do 4BPP SNES. Still looking very, very wonky, but we're going to get a better example, and I'll show you what we can do about that. There's a lot of bin files to look through, and the easiest way to find out which ones we're going to use in our overworld is by clicking this red poison mushroom right here. What I want you to see is this: graphics files to load for the foreground, and graphics files to load for the sprites, but we're going to focus on these right here, specifically these, 1C, 1D, 1E, and why not? We'll take a peek at 8 also. By the way, just to get ourselves settled for YY-CHR, there's another very important step. We want to import our palette also. Open Palette Editor, click on Export. You can call it anything you want, Overworld Palette, super cool name. We're back in YY-CHR, and we're going to go ahead and open up 1C, if you remember, 1C, change to 4BPP, then go to Palette, Open Palette, and find the palette that you just made. Alright, now down here in the bottom right, we're going to keep scrolling through until something looks familiar. That's exactly what we want it to happen. You know what? Let's actually go ahead and go to 1D. There we go. This is the one that I wanted to open. Now, a couple things I do want to mention. YY-CHR is a tool that can be used for many different games, many different situations. That's why it always defaults us to 1BPP, and why we always have to change it to 4BPP. And then you have to also import your palette manually. The palette does not come with the bin file automatically, so you have to export it and import it on your own. Now, what we're going to do in YY-CHR right here is, I want to modify this rock because, I don't know if you remember me saying earlier, but I actually want this rock to kind of explode. I want it to kind of disintegrate. And so we're going to make a bit of an animation using YY-CHR. So, to use this software, first thing I want to do is, I want to make use of our limited amount of tiles here. And I know I'm not going to use any of this Bowser nonsense right here. So I'm going to right click on this rock and do Control C, and I'm going to right click this area, Control V, and also this area, Control V. Now, using this first icon right here, the pen tool, this one is basically your pixel art tool. If you right click, you can then draw with that color. This works for all the colors like this. You just right click. You can also pick a color off of the palette from down here and then draw with it. Note that if you change palette, it'll change palette for everything. So you can draw your art based on the palette that you want to assign to it later. I'm going to do a little bit of drawing here. I am going to squint and everything and look really close at it, but that's just kind of how I have to do this. Very cool. Now I'm going to hit save, and the next thing you do is you press this orange, this yellow-orange mushroom with a red arrow on it. Quick insert graphics and ExGraphics to ROM. Awesome. Very cool. And now, and now what happens is I've got my graphics right here. Here, let me go ahead and zoom in on that stuff right there. So now here's my regular rock, and here are the ones that I just drew, these new frames that I just drew. And you might already have an idea of what I want to do with these. That's right, we are going over here, over to our animations, and I'm going to, ooh, that's not what I want. I'm going to lay them down like this, like that, and we're going to go to our layer 2 event animation mode, page up, and I know I just want to delete these that I already had before, and now it's time to make our new animation. Here we go. I just needed a regular blank graphic like this. That's all I needed. Okay, let's go ahead and try that one more time. Okay, we're on event 2. And the first thing I do is start placing my animation tiles like this until it's gone. Make sure it's placed correctly. And I'm going to make this and make that. Press page up and we're good. I'm going to go scroll through it really quickly to make sure it looks okay. Awesome, and now we're going to do it for event 3, the same exact thing basically. So let's work. Save, and now we're going to test it out and see what it looks like. I have to beat both secret exits again, so here we go. Alright, and let's check it out. Ooh, that is wonderful. And let's do the other one also, make sure it's working. Alright, let's check it out. Same thing. Beautiful. Not gonna lie, that turned out way better than I expected. Alright, now it's time to learn about ExGraphics or ExGraphics. Now let's say in a different subworld you did want to use those Bowser icons that I completely got rid of. Well, there is a fix. Now first off, you're gonna want to make a duplicate. It's a little bit too late for me, so instead we're gonna move on to a different set here. I'm going to use 1E. I'm going to show you how to do this. So first, we're going to open up 1E, get a look at it, see what it does. But what you can do, you want to go to Open, find your 1E, Control Copy, go back, go to ExGraphics, Control Paste. What we're going to do, we're going to rename the front of it to, let's do ExGFX B0. This is just a pretty good index of where to start. You can organize things in your own way. Maybe overworld stuff starts at C, maybe in-game stuff starts at B, but honestly, I just like to start at B and just kind of run down the list. But I do just recommend, especially for this example, start with B0, and then our next one will be B1, B2, B3, until you're at BF, and you go C0, C1, C2, like that. So go ahead and press open on this right here. And here we are. And I think I want to modify how this castle looks. Yeah, I'm just going to modify how this castle looks really quick in our new ExGFX B0 file. Alright, now I didn't change a lot, but it's enough to see that it's different. I'm going to press save, and what we're going to do here is we're going to open up this where we can see, okay, here's our castle, right? This is the same icon that I was just altering, and we're going to go to the red poison mushroom once more, and we're going to go to Yoshi's Island. And instead of 1E, I'm going to type in B0. It says not inserted. Let's see what we can do about that. I'm going to click the red and orange mushroom right here. Click the red poison mushroom again, B0, and look, now you have certain numbers right here. What you want to do is after you save your file in YY-CHR in the ExGraphics files, press this button. That way it gets imported into your ROM. So then you can click this. You can do B0 and it'll be there ready waiting for you. And now I'm on layer 1 editing mode and you can see that my castle is different. Let's move on to a different subworld now. Look, it's the same. It's exactly the same as how it used to be. But now if I wanted to change how it looks like in this one, we go to the red poison mushroom, we go to Bowser's Valley, and in 1E I'm going to type B0, press OK. And now it's changed. So that's the power of ExGraphics. You can make custom graphics per each subworld. Meanwhile, there it is, regular, once again. Before we move on too much further, I want to show you a bit more tricks and tips and whatnot on how to use YY-CHR. If you right click something, it'll give you a lot more control over that square. Unfortunately, I don't know how to zoom in any further than an 8x8. However, with this you can rotate. You can also shift it right and left, which be careful with that. You can flip it. Wonderful. Selection. With the selection tool, you can kind of grab a piece and then draw it right nearby. Lots of right click, left click kind of stuff. The fill tool, of course, just like any sort of paint. I actually don't end up using a lot of this other stuff, but you can feel free to play around with those. Alright, you might find some files like this. Let's see, this is 2A, graphics file 2A, and it looks really jumbled. You can tell it's trying to make text. What you want to do, go to your graphics format. If you go to 2BPPGB, you're going to go ahead and see all of the graphics that it can offer you. There are a few other files like this. If something looks kind of garbled and mangled, try to switch off between the 4BPP and the 2BPGB. That's a lot of letters. I really don't like all those letters. Since this is used for message blocks and things like that, you can actually delete some of the stuff like this loose yellow thing going on, because you already have letters up here. So you can actually delete this stuff and then draw over it. It's kind of hard to really know what's in each graphics file unless if you click that red poison mushroom in a certain level and it tells you what graphics files a certain stage or overworld is using. But I will provide a bit of a list down in the description of what each graphics file contains. Alright guys, time for number 11, our last chapter of this episode. It's YY-CHR In Game. I want to show you my favorite example of how to use this. Let me see if I can actually use it in level 1 right here. Perfect. Okay, this is going to be a good example, hopefully. I really want Mario to spin jump off of the Magic Koopa's kind of stationary magic. I think you'll know what I'm talking about. Here, actually, let me make a bit of an obstacle course here. 1 second. There we go. I think you'll know what I'm talking about once it's ready. Alright, so here I am in YY-CHR. This is effectively the piece that I want. This one. It's the Magic Koopa's kind of swirling, you know what I'm talking about. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to control copy paste this, like this. Right click to select, control C to copy. And what's happening is I want to put that in my current graphics file. Now I know this sprite uses SP4 just from trial and error. I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to go to graphics file 2. Alright, now look at this. In the same exact slot where the Magic Koopa magic was, you can see the same weird shapes that we have right down here. Do you see that? Now if I do paste, now if I do this, and I do paste, and I do save, and I do import like this, all of a sudden I've got my Magic Koopas stationary bouncing things right here. And I'll show you what that looks like. Ooh, and there they are, looking pretty as always. Oh my god. So what this basically lets us do is, let's say we want to use this graphics file which has the wigglers, I don't know, P-balloons, parachutes, spinies, and whatnot, but you really want that Koopa's magic, then you can do that, because otherwise, if we did want to use the graphics file that already has it, we would be stuck with Thwomps, Podoboos, Bonefish, Magic Koopa. Not necessarily a bad thing, but if you want wigglers and the Magic Koopa's magic in the same level, this is by far, in my opinion, the easiest way to do it. Now this will work in 90% of your situations. There might be a few compatibility conflicts where the same slot, the same box right here, will be occupied by 2 or more sprites that you really want to use. And I think we can actually use ASM to determine where a certain sprite's graphics come from, like a different box like this. But that's something that I actually haven't personally gotten into yet, so I think we'll be covering that in maybe episode 5 or 6. I'm going to give you one more example of what you can do in YY-CHR for your in-game editing, and we're going to start off by exporting a palette here. I'm going to call it, I'm just going to call it level 1 for now, because why not? What we're going to do is we're going to edit the Koopas, and we can see the different sprite files we're using, 0, 1, 13, and 2. You can look through them to find the Koopas. I'll give you a spoiler, they're in number 1. So we're going to open up YY-CHR and get graphics file 01 in here. Get that palette in there as well. Now scroll down until you find the right palette. Actually, a number of these will do. And all I want to do, as an example, is I want to make these Koopalings happy. Let's go ahead and import that. Oh no! Oh! It's so fucking cute! Oh, it's so cute! And of course, you know what? Let's go ahead and make a copy of this, throw it in our ExGraphics, paste. We're going to give it the name ExGFXB1, like this, and we're going to open that one. Very similar, except I want to make this one like super angry. Alright, from there I'm going to go to my level 10, and we're going to go ahead and import that graphic. So instead of SP2 graphic 1, I'm going to do B1. Oop, I forgot to insert it again. Let me just click this button right here, and it should be inserted now, and let me see how my sprites look. Oh baby. Oh, he looks pissed. How's this one look? Oh, he looks super mad. He looks mad too. There's no stopping these guys. They just look so angry. Alright guys, thank you so much for joining me for my second episode of my Lunar Magic tutorial series. We went over a lot. We went over a lot of customization, both in Overworld and in-game. I'm not exactly sure what I want to do on the next tutorial, but we might even dive into ASM, get some cool patches, change some stuff around on your title screen, on your credits. I'm not totally sure yet, but please keep coming back, and I hope the next time will be even more fun. Thank you so much. Bye.